Good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm going to talk about a phenomena which is quite common in our society, but sadly, not many people talk about it. Mental load, which is also referred to as if you needed help, you should have asked. I will try to explain this phenomena with an example. Back when I was in my first job, a colleague invited me over for dinner. When I got there, she was trying to feed her kids while preparing our meal. Her husband, who opened the door, asked me to grab a drink and take a seat. After a while, the pot started to overflow and everything spilled onto the floor. The husband, rather than helping her out, exclaimed, "What a disaster! What did you do?" "What do you mean what I did? I did everything. That's what I did," said the wife. "But you should have asked. I would have helped," the husband replied. It's a scene that seemed very familiar to many new parents, and I thought it said a lot about how things get organized at that stage in our lives. When a man expects his partner to ask him to do things, he's viewing her as the manager of the household chores. So it's up to her to know what needs to be done and when. The problem with that is that planning and organizing things is already a full-time job. At work, once I started managing projects, I quickly stopped participating in them because I didn't have the time. So when we ask women to take on this task of organization and at the same time expect them to execute a large portion in the end, it represents 75% of their work. Feminists call this work the mental load. The mental load means always having to remember. Remember that you have to add cotton buds to the shopping list. Remember that today's the deadline to order your vegetable delivery for the week. Remember that we should have paid the caretaker for last month's work by now. Remember that the baby grew another 3 centimeters and can't fit into his trousers anymore. That he needs to get his booster shot, or that your partner doesn't have a clean shirt left. The mental load is almost completely borne by women. It's permanent and exhausting work, and it's invisible. So while most men I know say that they do their fair share of household chores, their partners have a rather different perspective. For example, one of them said he always puts the washing machine but never hangs the washing out to dry. The sheets could be standing stiff before he thought to change them. For me, the fact that this load exists becomes obvious when I decide to take care of a simple chore like clearing the table. I start by picking something up to put it away, but on the way I come across a dirty towel that I go put in the laundry basket, which I find full, so I go to the washing machine. And from there I see the vegetables that I need to put in the fridge. As I'm putting away the vegetables, I realize that I need to add mustard to the shopping list, and so on and so forth. In the end, I'll have cleared away my table after 2 hours. If I ask my partner to clear the table, he'll just clear the table. The towel will stay on the floor, the vegetables will rot on the kitchen counter, and we won't have any mustard for dinner. It's like when my friend Jay, on her way to bed, asked her husband, "Can you take the baby's bottle out of the dishwasher when it's done?" And getting up for the first nightly feed, found the dishwasher open just with the bottle on the counter and everything else still inside. Let me know if you need help what our partners are really saying when they ask us to tell them what needs to be done is that they refuse to take on their share of the mental load. Of course, there's nothing genetic or innate about this behavior. Women are not born with an all-consuming passion for clearing tables, just like men aren't born with an utter disinterest for things lying around. But we are born into a society, especially Asian societies, in which very early on girls are given dolls and miniature vacuum cleaners, and in which it seems shameful for boys to like those same toys. in which we see our mothers in charge of the household management while our fathers only execute instructions, and in which culture and media essentially portray women as mothers and wives, while men are heroes who go on fascinating adventures away from home. The conditioning will take effect from our earlier years and onto into adulthood. And while women are more and more present in the workforce, they still remain the only ones in charge of the household. When we become mothers, this double responsibility blows up in our face. 11 days after we go through the ordeal of giving birth, our partner goes back to work, and it seems normal to him. During this time, while recovering from our stitches in between 2 sleepless nights, we'll be thinking about everything that concerns the baby. For example, choosing a nanny, buying clothes, medical checkups, or their meals. And once we are back at work, things will get so hellish that it will feel less exhausting to keep doing everything rather than to battle with a partner so that he does his share. That's why you find fathers struggling with children who are already a few years old because they don't know where to buy their clothes, what to feed them, or even the nanny's phone number. Of course, there's nothing forcing women to do all this. The problem is that when women stop, the whole family suffers. So most of us feel resigned to the fact that we are alone in bearing the mental load, nibbling away at work or leisure time just so we can manage everything. So I already know what some people, especially men, are gonna say. It's not true. I take care of half the chores at home. In that case, just as well, but try and confirm it with your partner. If things are like that in your home, it still doesn't change the problem statistically. Women are still the ones managing household chores. According to a research conducted by the French Institute, women are still devoting 25% more time to household chores than men. And if this gap has been narrowing, it's not because men are doing more, but because wealthier households outsource these tasks, most often to poor immigrant women. We can't really say that it's a good solution. For things to change, it seems clear that men have to learn to feel that their home is also their responsibility. For a start, it would be good if fathers insisted on their right to be with their family in the first months of their child's life. Right now, only feminists are demanding longer paternity leave, and without much success. It's time to take the lead. It can also help to start from the beginning and to divide up recurrent and non-recurrent chores, even if that means becoming a bit more tolerant to stuff lying around. And also sometimes simply leaving the house without preparing everything beforehand and not feeling guilty about it. A role reversal can often be more effective than confrontation. And of course, raising our children as far away as possible from stereotypes to offer them a fairer future than the one we have got.